discuss some things regarding Social Security that a lot of you guys have brought to my attention. And I definitely believe that we needed to be talking about this today. So today is Sunday, January 15th, and this is going to give a reality check to a lot of people. So we're talking about the recent news on Social Security. And trust me, guys, this is not just some political jargon, right? This is more of like a wake-up call for a lot of people, and I think we really need to talk about. So if you are, either retired, maybe you're looking forward to being able to retire early or retire soon. If you're receiving any kind of Social Security, SSI, SSDI, any kind of fixed income benefits, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. So first things first. So basically, you guys have probably already heard about this whole Social Security thing, right? We got Haley, you got Trump, and you got DeSantis. So these guys are all in the news. Trump, Haley, and DeSantis, they're all in the news, right? And just they're kind of going back and forth a lot about Social Security. But a lot of people have been asking me, Ron, what does all this mean? I'm coming up on retirement soon. We've been paying into this retirement program for so long. What's going on, guys? I appreciate you guys checking in. Host Hannah, Josiah, we got Emily Hernandez, Generation X. We're paying into this system that they repeatedly are labeling as an entitlement program. And I'm sick of not being sure as to whether or not they're going to steal our money, or are they going to actually pay us what we're due? What's up, Katalia? What's up? I'm Special Born, Tammy Jerry. So what does all of this mean, right? Simply put, Social Security, this is basically like our safety net, right? Some people are fully dependent on this fixed income program, but others are maybe not necessarily fully dependent, but they use that money to get by day to day, cover daily expenses, monthly expenses, rent, mortgage payments, car payments, any kind of debt obligations, food, utilities, and so forth, right? So this is what's going on, right? So Nikki Haley, Donald Trump, and Ron DeSantis, these guys are in the news big time this time, right? And they're, so basically, the Social Security program is supposed to be there for us, right? But now there's talk about cutting it and changing it, and basically all this stuff is up in the air, right? And no matter where you stand on this political issue, I know it's a little political, but I'm gonna try to keep it neutral. I just want to give the information to you guys, because it's something that affects all of us. So here's the deal, guys. So these candidates, they're talking about changing the retirement age. They're talking about cutting benefits, all sorts of changes. And with 2024 being an election year, there's some big changes that could be coming down the pipeline. And I'm going to get into why this thing could literally blow up in the next 10 months. Okay. So, while they argue that they're the ones that are left wondering, at the end of the day, we are the ones that fall victim to whatever choices that they make, right? And we're the ones that are left wondering, like, what's going to happen to my retirement, right? I mean, think about it. You work hard your whole freaking life. They make promises to you. You pay into the system against your will. So, some people don't want to pay into the system, and I get it, because you don't really trust it necessarily to be there when you need it. And then, of course, when it's time to kick back, then the rules might change, right? You know how they change the definition of a recession on us, right? And it's kind of like, saving up for a dream vacation, and then being told that the destination might not be there when you're ready to go. Wouldn't that be a little frustrating, just to say the least, right? You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Gloria? I see you. Jeanette Anton, thank you for your comments. By the way, if you're able to see and hear me, please drop a quick comment. Let me know if you're able to see and hear me, or at least hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button if you appreciate being informed on the news that matters to us. Now, you might be thinking, I'm young, I got time. Or you might also be thinking, I'm already pretty close to retirement. This probably won't hit me. I'm good, But here's the thing, guys. This is not just about us. It's about our parents, about our grandparents, and our kids, right? We're all in this together. And there's one thing that we should definitely take from this debate here. it's that it's nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. We got to be prepared. So the whole situation, it's kind of a wake up call. It's telling us loud and clear that we need to be on top of our financial game. We can't just rely on Social Security or any one thing. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket and then finding out that the basket's got a big hole in the bottom, right? Not cool. So this is definitely why it's crucial to know your retirement number and the exact amount that you need to save. Now, I just want to touch base a little bit on what they're talking about here. So that the Social Security experts said that Donald Trump is just as likely as his opponents, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, to cut Social Security if he's elected in November. This is not a good sign for anyone who will need to rely on Social Security in 2024 and going forward. So this is pretty much going to affect everyone. And it's interesting how much of this is coming out right now, right as we head into the election period. And I don't know what kind of strategy that they're looking to implement, like letting this kind of news leak out, Social Security has said that all three GOP 2024 presidential candidates, Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, and Ron DeSantis, have made promises that the Watchdog deems detrimental to the Social Security Administration and its recipients. Basically, these comments have been, made against the backdrop of Trump, Haley, and DeSantis attacking one another over the proposed plans of this nationwide welfare program. Wow. So they're calling Social Security a nationwide welfare program. They're calling Social Security an entitlement program, bunch of handouts. This is how they're looking at the Social Security program. Now, I don't know how you guys see it, but this is how they're seeing it. Conservative Republicans have previously spoken out about the cost of Social Security, also known as the Old Age Survivors and Disability Insurance Program, the OASDI program, which pays out pensions, disability benefits, and benefits to survivors of a deceased claimant. So anyway, last week, Donald Trump released a political advertisement pointing out that Nikki Haley has previously said that she would change the retirement age to reflect life expectancy, advocating for the age to be set higher than its current level of 65 for future generations. So basically, they don't want to let you out of the rat race. They don't want to let you out of the working class. They don't want you to retire. They want you to work until you die. Is basically what is happening when you raise the retirement age. It says Americans were promised a secure retirement, according to the advertisement. Nikki Haley plans to end that, end quote. And I'm gonna leave a link for you guys so you can check out this article in the description down below this video. Matter of fact, let me see if I can stick this in here real quick for you guys, in case you want to kind of keep up with what I'm covering, because I always I like to cite my sources, so you know what I'm talking about. I'm not making stuff up. Like I said, I ain't got to make nothing up. There's so much stuff coming out every day. I don't have to make anything up. There's enough content to cover that I don't have to fabricate anything. So again, if you guys appreciate the news and the updates that I give you, that I provide to you guys to keep you informed, to let you know what's going on, I know it's a lot to keep up with. Definitely hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Totally really appreciate you guys and your support. All right, so elsewhere, Trump apparently attacked DeSantis on Social Security before the Florida governor even announced that he was going to be running as a Republican nominee. Now, keep in mind, this news has come out just hours ago. Okay, so this is theoretically breaking news, right? So Trump attacked DeSantis on Social Security before the Florida governor even announced he was going to be running as a Republican nominee. A Trump super PAC last year aired similar adverts accusing DeSantis of cutting Social Security during his time in the House. which is shocking because Florida's perceived as being like a retirement state. So it's kind of like weird to see a Florida governor in the retirement state of, Sunshine State of Florida, with plans on making it harder for retirees to survive. So that's a little surprising. Is that surprising to you to hear Ron DeSantis' stance on Social Security? Anyway, so DeSantis has previously voted in favor of budget resolutions that would theoretically see Americans reach 70 years of age before being able to collect any retirement benefits. Wow, that's wild. That's wild. Can you imagine? You're 64 years old, and then all of a sudden, and you think next year you're going to retire, and then like all of a sudden they're like, no, we're going to go ahead and push this forward to 70, and then you're planning to retire next year, and all of a sudden, no, you're going to retire 6 years from now. That's pretty jacked up. And this is on top of so much increased expenses for so many people here in the United States, but namely Florida, rising property taxes, rising HOA fees, rising homeowners insurance costs, cost of gas, food, everything is going up. And then they want to go ahead and drop another bombshell on you and say, hey, nah, you're not going to retire next year. You're going to go ahead and retire 6 years from now. Hopefully you make it. And if you don't make it, what do you think they're going to do with that money that they didn't pay you, right? If you happen to pass away before you retire, I'm pretty sure they would love that. So, so anyway, says here, quote, on Social Security, just as he does on so many topics, Social Security works. President Nancy Altman told progressive news website Common Dreams, Donald Trump is projecting his own desires onto his opponents. In this case, his accusations against Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis happen to be true, but they are equally true about Trump himself. Interesting. They go on to say here that Trump proposed serious cuts to Social Security as part of his budget every single year he was in office, surrounding himself with men like Mike Mulvaney and Mike Pence, who have long histories of trying to cut and privatize Social Security. What do you think about Social Security privatization? Like, do you think BlackRock should manage Social Security for the American people? Like, because when they're talking about privatization of Social Security, I would think that they're not going to just let Social Security, a multi-trillion-dollar retirement program, be managed by some small-scale company. So, what would you feel comfortable with the likes of Vanguard or maybe State Street or BlackRock managing your Social Security retirement funds? Like, does that give you the warm and fuzzies? I'm just asking, because if they're going to privatize Social Security, those would probably be the most likely candidates to manage it. Because BlackRock is such a huge company, they've already got trillions of dollars under management. They would probably look at BlackRock or maybe Vanguard, one of those guys, to be big enough. Because how they say too big to fail, right? So I guess they would be too big. They would be too big to fail, and also probably big enough to be able to handle and manage that kind of money. They own everything else. So, let me know you guys' thoughts on that. But, security is one thing, right? Having all your eggs in one basket is not recommended at all, right? Certainly if you find out that there's a hole in this basket. But this is why it's really crucial to know your retirement numbers, the exact amount you need to save, whether it's $750,000, maybe you need $1 million, maybe you need more than $1 million to retire comfortably. But having the number in mind, it really helps to be able to set a clear goal. And I think that's really, really important. Like, remember, it's not just a figure. This is for securing your financial security. And so, what do we do? Well, we got to take control. That's one thing. We do have a presidential election coming up in 2024. So, you got to be thinking about what are these guys going to do if they get in office, right? It's also about being proactive with our finances. It's not just about saving money. It's also about being smart with our money, right? Like, are you making the most out of your paycheck? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you investing wisely? Like, a lot of this is crucial to get your asset allocation right. Balancing our stocks, balancing our bonds based on our age and our risk tolerance, right? Like, this is really, really important. Catalia says invest some of your money. Adam Brock says Vanguard, BlackRock, go research three. They own everything. Okay. So, but let's also not forget about avoiding the temptation of overstretching if the risk, you don't want to take on too much risk if you're behind the eight ball and you're trying to hurry up and retire soon because maybe you started to fund your investment retirement accounts kind of late, right? So we want to try to avoid the temptation of overstretching and risk of trying to play catch up, right? Now, of course, this is not financial advice. This is just purely for entertainment purposes. But these are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves, right? Now, I'm not saying you got to go out there and be the next Wolf of Wall Street. Not saying that, right? I don't know if you guys saw that movie. Awesome movie. I've probably watched the movie like 6 times. But anyway, so I'm not saying you got to be Wolf of Wall Street, but getting into the habit of investing, even a little bit, could make a huge difference in your financial freedom and your ability to retire early and have a good retirement. But it's all about making your money work for you. And hey, like if you're over 50 years old, don't overlook those catch-up contributions in your 401k or even your IRA. Like, we don't want to forget about those. So anyway, this is an opportunity to boost your retirement savings significantly. So, you don't necessarily have to be a millionaire to invest at all. Most people are not millionaires when they start investing. Trust me. And then of course you got emergency funds. And this is pretty much like, your financial lifeboat. There's, life's full of surprises. We know this, right? We saw the pandemic come out of nowhere. That was a big surprise. Black swan surprise, right? Black swan event. And not all of these surprises are necessarily going to be good. And so this is why it's really, really important to have a good, solid emergency fund. And it's not just for the oops moments. It's also for those really serious, like, what now times, if you know what I mean, right? I know a lot of people were going through that in the last 3 years. Like, what do we do now, right? If your car breaks down, if you suddenly need a new refrigerator, if you lose your job, like, this is where your emergency comes in. This is where your emergency fund will come in and kind of, catch you and keep you from depending on, going to some title loan place and letting them screw you over, or depending upon some cash advance off of your credit card, or, having to go to some, what are those places where they really screw you over? Payday loan place, whatever. You want to stay away from those places. That is a death spiral to be in, right? A lot of people never say never says move to Mexico now. Hey, a lot of people are looking at relocating, traveling, and potentially just moving entirely out of the state, out of the country, out of the United States entirely, because, some people are realizing that the cost of living in other countries is dramatically less, and their dollar will go a lot further. I know some people who are looking at purchasing property in Mexico, in Costa Rica, and in Argentina right now. And they're saying how much cheaper it is. So, I'm just putting it out there. This is the reality that a lot of people are looking at, So, emergency funds over payday loans all day long. These emergency funds, these are your safety nets, so that way you don't have to dip into your retirement savings or rack up any kind of high interest credit card debt. So anyway, and some people are saying, well, why not move to Mexico? We have so many people coming in from the southern border. If people are coming in here, maybe we, head south and get warmer weather and maybe a lower cost of living. Hey, I'm open to the options. Now, we also got to look at diversifying our income, right? We don't want to just have one income source, right? This is a very risky business, right? So we got to be thinking about different streams of income, Maybe it's a side hustle. Maybe it's some freelance work. Maybe it's rental income. Maybe it's something else, but diversification is definitely key. It's kind of like having multiple safety nets. Um, if one goes down, then hopefully the others will be able to catch you. And of course, we can't forget the budget. It's not the most exciting word. I know nobody wants to budget, but look at big companies like Apple, look at Amazon, look at um, Vanguard, look at BlackRock, all these multi-billion-dollar companies. They all have a budget, believe it or not. So no matter how much money they have, they're still budgeting. And so think of it kind of like, think of like your budget as like your financial roadmap. Um, it's kind of how you keep track of where your money's going. That's the way I like to look at it. And yeah, so you gotta have a way to keep track of where your money's going and make sure you're not overspending. And it also kind of help you to keep track of, are you moving forward or not? Catalia says Catalia says have an LLC or create a side hustle. It's really easy to do. Make money while you work a 9 to 5. That's right, because Catalia mentioned, I think on several previous videos, that she's got some, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you mentioned you got like a Printify or some type of Printify setup business that you've got going on in conjunction with Etsy, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what you said before. Jeanette Anton says the only advantage to privatize you and Social Security is we could actually sue those companies, whereas now you're unable to sue the federal government about what they do on Social Security. Yeah, so Kitalia does Printful. I knew it was print something. Printful with Etsy. Richie Tattersall says payday loans are illegal in New York City. I didn't know that. I think, honestly, I think they should probably be illegal in maybe the entire country. They're so predatory in the interest rates that they charge. And they really take advantage of people in desperate situations. And it's pretty messed up, if you ask me. Anyway, I do not recommend those payday loans. They're trash. Anyway, but of course, can't forget about debt. If you're in debt, obviously work on getting out of debt. If it's super low interest debt, if you got a mortgage that's like under 3%, I wouldn't really be in any kind of hurry to pay that off. Just manage that properly. But to each his own. Me personally, I wouldn't be in a hurry to pay off interest rates under 3%. Certainly not for assets. Now, I'm not trying to pay 3% for some dinner I ate a year ago on my credit card. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I'm not trying to pay interest on. But for a house, I'm okay with that personally. I draw the line in what I'm willing to pay minimal interest on. And of course, the academic answer might actually suggest keeping a low interest rate mortgage. Like I said, I'm not in any hurry to pay off a 3% mortgage. It just, there's bigger fish to fry, if that makes sense, right? I would, now think about the peace of mind that comes with being debt free, right? I would become debt free in all areas of my life, and I would definitely save that mortgage for the last to kind of pay off. So, it's all about balance and finding out what works best for you and your wallet and your well-being, right? So, anyway, yeah. So this whole Social Security debate, it literally is so far from over, and it looks like this presidential election could be the next step to whatever they're going to be doing with this program, whether it's making it, it's so hard to speculate what they're going to do. Are they going to make it so that you can't retire until you're much older? Are they going to cut Social Security checks? Are they going to increase the Social Security benefits? Because we've heard it from all sides of the aisle. So let me know you guys' thoughts. If you guys appreciate the updates, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Take care, and y'all be safe. Bye.